Okay, back to the tractor real quick. Is there anything I don't like on this tractor? And really, there's nothing. It's really amazing. There are some little things that I found interesting. Hey, the valve stem is not protected on any of the wheels, which I've noticed on the other competitors in their low-end models. They're not protected. So I don't know. That seems like a weird place to cut cost. So now this has got the Power Beyond, obviously, because of the backhoe installed. So you can see there's the Power Beyond, and it just connects to itself when the backhoe's not on. But I would like to have some functionality back here, because as you noticed with the box blade, it would be nice to be able to extend and retract that top link, so that I can control whether it's digging, leveling, scooping, scarifying, whatever, without getting down and manually spinning that top link. Also, the top link with that little hook right there, it's not very easy to turn. You'd stick a screwdriver in there and you spin it, but you kind of mar up your top link when you do that. So I kind of like the other ones with the big handles on them. Same thing with the leveling, 3-point leveling support, arm support. The thing's hard to turn. So let's see, where am I? There you are. And so that's how we get our cut on one side, is we bring that leveling arm up a little bit, and that gives us a little bit of slant so we can do ditches. Let's see, is there anything I don't like about this? No. What side is it at on? Low control. There's a lot of people that kind of complained about this area right here, and admittedly, Kubota does it much better in their quick disconnect, with a single lever that disconnects all four at the same time and keeps it up and out of this lower area. But realistically, as long as you're careful and know that it's there and just don't be stupid, I don't see how you could do any damage. Now, realistically, these need to be, hung or taped or something so that they're not dragging like that. They're going to get ripped off by something, even in just pretty normal use, I would imagine, if we get into that brush. But that's certainly nothing to complain about. That's an easy thing to zip tie those up. And the other thing is I don't really ever plan on taking the loader off. I mean, this is not a lawn tractor. This is not for mowing the lawn. It's got an 8.5-foot turning radius. So, if I'm doing a big open pasture, yeah. If I'm doing a lawn that's got trees and I have to get around trees, this thing would be awful because of its turning radius. So I've got the Husqvarna 54-inch riding lawnmower for that, and I use that riding lawnmower because this territory out here is so rough that a zero-turn mower just wouldn't cut it. But eventually this unit will make it so I can get a zero-turn mower, because it should be groomed well enough that we can get around trees and such. But putting a belly mower on this just doesn't make sense to me. And a lot of people do, and more power to you. I'm certainly, this is just my personal preference, and your personal preference with your machine is your choice, and you can tell me that I'm stupid for it. But with an 8.5-foot turning radius, the only thing I could cut is straight runs. It would be difficult to get around trees. Really, I don't know that there's anything I don't like about it. The implements that I'm getting are all Woods equipment, as far as the back end stuff, and they're just beefy. You can see here at the steel thickness on everything is 1/2 inch or more. Even the frame series and how it's put together, it's just ridiculously beefy. As a matter of fact, this thing weighs like 435 pounds. Just an awesome durability in this. So yeah, I've got no problem with the Woods equipment. The backhoe's super nice, with swivel back seat. Swivel back seat's a little weird. I'll show you that later when we do the backhoe and look at the backhoe. But you lift it, you spin it, and that's how it sits. And you have to literally come up and lift it, simply because all of these implements would not allow you to spin it in its current position. And it's a little sticky and a little tight, and needs to be greased up. One of the things I have not actually greased up on this unit is all the seat locks and seat implements and spinning equipment. So some of that just needs to be done. And, you know, you can see little things like this. I just kind of noticed that I hadn't seen before. You can see the rust in the pin, just because it's been sitting out in the weather. Just like that. It's where the water sits underneath it and drips. So stuff that has to be replaced just because the dealers leave these machines outside. And that's, you know, unless you're lucky enough to get into a dealership where the particular machine you have is indoors, you're going to find that everywhere. You know, whether I went to Kyoto or Mahindra or Kubota or John Deere, all their machines sit out in the driveway, and they're not even basically covered. So the only thing that goes wrong with Mahindra and Yanmar more than the others is red tends to fade faster, and you know, the sun affects it more than, say, green or orange or yellow or some other color that the sun doesn't hurt so bad. Other than that, you can leave your comments and let me know, especially if you have a competing model that you think may be better. I know some people complain, you know, of where these things are located as far as brush and things that could cause damage, and it's certainly a concern. And when it happens, I will certainly let you know and be right along with you on the complaints. But so far, this little monster is just doing everything I want it to do. There's just nothing I can find that's just wrong with it. Now, obviously, one of the things I need to do is add a toolbox, because the pins and everything do require tapping, you know, with a little ball peen hammer to get them out. Everything's new, and the front bucket and everything just doesn't align absolutely perfectly yet, though it's getting better and better. And you know, the pins are loosening up fine, so not a problem there. Back hitch, first time I've used the back hitch, so obviously the pins are not necessarily the pins, but things are a little tight. So especially that this pin down here, which you have to undo because of the backhoe. This right here, the stabilizer pin that you can see, has to slide to the left and slide to the right to get our arms in when we switch out from the backhoe to the 3-point implement. So you can see it right down there above the drawbar. The silver stabilizer sleeve goes over a pin, and that pin has to slide back and forth. And in my dealer's great wisdom, they didn't really know these machines. They were a sports shop, and kind of carried them because they wanted the Yanmar utility vehicles. And I think Yanmar kind of forced them to carry the tractors for the vehicles. But yeah, in their great wisdom, they didn't know to put that pin in, so they had to put the pin in. Then they couldn't get the pin aligned right for the here, let me show you. For the you can see the cotter pin goes right there, the retaining pin, and then the cotter pin, clevis pin, and the cotter pin. I didn't have it aligned right, so they grabbed it with a pair of whatever, you know, massive channel locks or vice grips or a pipe wrench, and heck out of it. So now it kind of binds up into the cast iron, but it's loosening up. It's not a problem. Nothing to go whine and complain about too much. if I wanted it replaced that much, it'd be a big deal. But of course, none of this was grease, so it made it even harder to deal with when I got it. And I was just amazed at the lack of grease. Even after they worked on it, I was like, you know, how did you guys work on this stuff with the white dust and the corrosion in there without? And you can see it. Look at it right here. So you can see the white dust from the corrosion because I haven't greased that. Imagine trying to get some kind of tight pin through that without any grease. And they did it. They did it all down in the bottom. Amazing. Crazy. But it's the LB. So I took them all out and greased them up. And of course, in here, when I put the backhoe back on, all that'll get greased up and get rid of all that. So anyway, no, nothing about this at all that I dislike. So let me know your comments and let me know what you think of it, and if you have a competing brand, if you think there's something better or worse. Well, like I said, when I first started using the front hitch, I didn't like that. It seemed difficult to use because these particular pins right here bound up. Again, a lack of grease and a lack of use, because now they're easy to get on and off. And the front loader will come off, but I'm not taking that front loader off. I just have no reason whatsoever. But it will come off if I ever decide to, and eat my words. Again, this is the 424. The 324 is exactly the same machine. There is no difference from front to back except for the rear tire size. So that's a 3-foot rear tire. The 324 has a 33-inch rear tire. And I really, you know, you got this gap right here. You had 1.5 inches additional gap for the radius. So, you know, you take 3 inches off the entire tire, you get 1.5 inches additional radius. And it looked fine. I mean, if you look at the competitors, they've got tiny wheels. Even the 33-inch put the competitors to shame in wheel size. But I liked the larger tire look. And it was literally, I think, $950 difference in price, and the tires are much more beefy. And the weight on the tires helps with the backhoe and the front loader without having to put ballast on and everything, because those tires are heavy. I've got to actually go look them up, but I know that the dealer said when he pulled that tire off, they couldn't lift it. So they actually moved the jack and got the tractor down to the tire as opposed to trying to manipulate the tire to get it back up. So I'm guessing it's pretty darn heavy. All right, I think that pretty much covers that. Let me know if you have any questions on the Yanmar. It's an amazing machine, and we'll continue running it, and we'll continue working on the property, and let's see if we can get that hill farther down now that it's stopped raining.